I'm with Joe Dolan of the Bush Hotel, President of the Irish Hotels Federation. Regionality and seasonality, they're the biggest problems facing the rural hotelier.
Indeed, Eoghan, regionality and seasonality, or regionality as I call it, are a very real issue. There is a very inequitable distribution of visitor numbers in Ireland. 80% of the tourism revenue is generated in just 5 counties, Dublin, Cork, Carrick, Limerick, Galway. In terms of seasonalities, I mean, there are places, particularly those with a high domestic dependence, are doing as little or as much as 80% of their business in 20% of the year. So there's a huge inequitable distribution. And a lot of people who suffer from seasonality, regionality, actually suffer from both ailments. And as a crude rule of thumb, I suppose the more rural you are as a tourism provider, the more you suffer from being disadvantaged in this context. But there's a very big compelling business case why we should address that. I mean, the infrastructure is there, the capacity is there. I mean, tourism, hospitality and product to a large point is actually a perishable product. You know, you can't sell last night's rooms today. And the people are there as well, because they're part-time as a result of the seasonality, and if we can improve that seasonality, when I talk about seasonality, by the way, I'm not just talking about summer, winter, I'm actually talking about weekend as against midweek. So, but there is a very big, compelling business case. And
what's to do? How would you tackle such a large problem that's facing so many counties?
Well, listen, we've got to be realistic. I mean, there is never going to be an iconic, there is no, there will not be any man-made iconic visitor attractions ever developed in this part. We're not going to have a Titanic Quarter or a storehouse or something like that, okay? So let's be real. But we have a lot of innovative product development. Let me just talk about development. I'll talk about marketing in a moment. You know, we have things like Loch Rin. It's a long, narrow, deep lake, eminently suitable for rowing. Our local authority, in conjunction with other people, have developed that into a world-class rowing facility. For relatively little investment, we have a world-class facility. We have Waterways Ireland, who are hugely supportive of us. They have our, you're familiar with greenways and so on, like they have in Mayo. We're taking our canals, where you have a sterile corridor on either side. And for relatively little investment, we're getting a large amount of product, along with ancillary walking and cycling and stand-up paddling and canoeing and all the things that go with that. So, for example, by the end of middle of next year, actually, we can actually go all the way from Carrick up to Loch Allen, and a lot of teams will be developing out from that, as well as the cycling and canoeing and all that sort of stuff. We'll maybe have some gourmet and restaurant teams and botany and various other strands.
So is that the solution, a cluster of attractions within each region?
Clustering is, absolutely, yeah. I mean, clustering makes the difference between a day trip and an overnight, or an overnight and two nights and so on. But I mean, it's got to be innovative, because you know, our tourism authorities, I mean, they have limited resources. I mean, our issue up here, I mean, as you know, the approach to marketing now is all on brand awareness, and we have the 3 iconic brands. We're very disappointed with the progress that we made on the Lakeland brand rollout, because we're up here and we're literally unbranded. We're not a good fit for anyone. And you know, tourism is so important here. Personal income from tourism is actually higher in Leitrim than it is in Kerry. Now, just think about that for a moment. But the reason is that there is so little else going on, and there is never going to be any other massive economic investment in Carrick, in terms of, because we're not really on the map in terms of like a regional gateway town with, say, Enterprise Ireland or IDA. Tourism is the only and effective and efficient vehicle for economic growth, and the return by investing in rural areas like Leitrim is just second to none, and it is actually the only way forward.
We've seen some spectacular examples of marketing of individual regions, individual hotel stunts and ambush marketing. Is there a structured marketing that could be brought to the entire industry that will help overcome the problems you're talking about?
Look, I'm familiar with some of those. I mean, I think, for example, David McGowan over in Scrowan, and what he did putting in the Scrowan on the map for 20,000 clapped out 737 to bring it up the high street in the Scrowan. It's been, I suppose it's opportunistic, but I mean, I think you have to think outside the box. You need to be looking for opportunities, the differentiator. we met earlier and walked around the Bush Hotel, and I showed you some of the clever things we do that just differentiate ourselves from cheap, clever, resourceful marketing. I think that's the key, not just in the Bush Hotel, regionally and nationally.
Does that have to be done nationally, put the structure in place and people follow it, or is it something that's just going to be left to all the individuals within the sector?
No, I think our national tourism authorities, they have to create that framework and that incentive. They're not going to deliver. They can inspire and incentivise and maybe give some training in that respect. But I think when it comes down to it, Voyage Ireland or Tourism Ireland, they're not going to fill the Bush Hotel, but they might give us some guidance and market intelligence and so on as to where is a good place to be looking at and so on. But I really think it's up to us to generate the vehicle to get them here.